Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking into something quite specific. Reports that European consumers might be boycotting U.S. goods.
That's right. We're basing this on a New York Times report that, interestingly, got highlighted on the European Central Bank's own blog.
Okay, so official sources noticing this. Our mission then is to unpack this. How big is it? Why is it happening? And what could the impact be?
Exactly. And the catalyst, according to these reports, seems pretty clear. Former U.S. President Trump putting tariffs on trading partners. That seems to have, well, turned off some European shoppers from buying American.
Turned them off enough to actually affect sales. Are we seeing real numbers here?
It looks like it. McDonald's is a big example. They apparently saw a 3% drop in global revenue and net income just in the first quarter.
Wow, 3% globally for McDonald's. What are the actual figures?
Revenue was down to around $6 billion. That's about 8.2 billion Canadian dollars, and net income fell to 1.9 billion or 2.6 billion Canadian. For a giant like McDonald's, that's noticeable.
Yeah, that's not small change. And it's not just fast food, is it?
No, not at all. Tesla's another one mentioned. Facing boycotts, apparently significant losses too. There were even reports of these shame stickers on Teslas over in Sweden.
Shame stickers, that's very direct, a visual protest.
Very visual. And it goes beyond these sort of high-profile, maybe politically charged brands, even staples, things like Heinz ketchup, Lay's chips. Their sales are reportedly slipping too.
Okay, so this feels like more than just a few unhappy people. It sounds like a kind of deliberate shift. What's going on at the ground level?
Well, the New York Times piece mentioned some interesting grassroots stuff. Like in Denmark, consumers actually organizing boycott campaigns on Facebook.
Really? Organized efforts?
Yeah, one group apparently hit 95,000 members. That's, quite a large number, showing real intent there.
95,000, wow. And businesses are noticing.
Seems so. That same report mentioned the Danish grocery chain, Netto. They actually started putting a little asterisk on European products.
To help people boycott.
Essentially, yeah. To make it easier for shoppers who wanted to avoid U.S. stuff, they noted it used to be hard to even tell where some products were made.
So the store itself is kind of facilitating this. That's significant. Did the ECB dig into the consumer side of things? Like, how determined are people?
They did. Their study suggested something quite telling. Even if U.S. goods had a 5% tariff slapped on them, making them a bit more expensive potentially, many Europeans would still avoid them.
So they're willing to pay more just to buy non-American.
It seems that way. They'd rather choose a more expensive European alternative, almost like a form of retaliation against the tariffs. It suggests it's not just about the money.
Right, there's a principle involved for them. And the ECB, they think this is serious.
They certainly seem to. Their blog post called it a distinct and potentially long-lasting trend.
Yeah.
A central bank using language like long-lasting that carries weight.
Definitely. Suggests they don't see it as just a temporary blip. The New York Times also mentioned it could be tough to turn this around.
Yeah, the reporting suggested that overcoming this sort of growing disillusionment among Europeans won't be easy. Once that sentiment sets in, changing perceptions, rebuilding that consumer trust, it takes a lot more than just adjusting a policy.
Okay, so let's quickly recap. We're seeing what looks like a real boycott of U.S. goods in parts of Europe, seemingly kicked off by tariffs. It's hitting big companies, everyday products too.
And consumers are organized. They're willing to pay more for alternatives. And a major institution like the ECB sees this as a potentially sticky long-term shift.
Which is quite something.
It really is. And it leaves you with a big question to think about. If this consumer resolve holds or even grows, what kind of lasting changes might we see? Not just in trade between the U.S. and Europe, but maybe globally in how people decide what to buy. It's definitely something to watch.